All right, good afternoon, everybody. You all know me because I've been walking around talking about your projects, but I'm Dave, co-founder of BlueStamp Engineering. I'm here to give you a talk not just about BlueStamp Engineering, but the other cool stuff that I do, so you have a chance to ask me questions, just like any other guest speaker that we have coming in here. So BlueStamp is like a third of what I do, or a half. It's really awesome. I love watching all you guys build your projects and make neat stuff work. But I also am operating owner of Young Circuit Designs, which is a circuit design company that services startups that need hardware expertise. So for instance, the guy we had yesterday, Jeff, he's Voltaic Systems. I'm one of their electrical engineering support people. So if they have a hard problem to solve, then they call me. I have other clients where basically if they have an idea, it's like, hey, I want to build this thing so that I can put it on Kickstarter, or I already have money, so I want to build this thing and design it so we can manufacture thousands of them and sell them. They call me and I help figure out with them what they really want, how somebody could build it, and then I go design it, prototype it, test it, deliver it to them, fix it, change it, and then get it set up with manufacturing. So basically somebody could take this idea and build 1 million of them, assuming people want to buy them. It's a pretty neat gig, and I get to work with 7 or 8 companies a year trying to launch products, and I've been able to do been on some pretty impressive design teams. Also, I'm adjunct faculty at the Colorado School of Mines, one of the great engineering schools. So I do their senior design program, which is where I get a lot of ideas on how you guys can work on stuff. So that's my background. That's where I've come from, what I've done. But I want to give a few stories and tell you a little bit more about what you should be going for here. So raise your hand if you're frustrated with your project right now. Okay. Keep it up, or raise your hand if you've been frustrated with your project at all at BlueStamp. Okay, hands up. Raise your hand if it would be way simpler if your main project was just like the starter project and it would have instructions on exactly how to build it. All you have to do is follow. Yeah. Who can tell me what the difference is between a starter project and a main project?
Boring.
Boring? Good. Yeah?
Starter project, you guys just plug and play, and then the main project, you actually have to design yourself.
Yeah. Perfect. Perfect. It's more fun to do the stuff somebody tells you how to do, right? Follow instructions, at least at first. Maybe a lot more efforts and a lot more unknowns when you're doing something new with your main project, yes? I want to tell you guys all that that's how we designed this program. That's exactly what we want. Who knows the type of job that would have you doing stuff like your starter project? Who can name it? Yeah?
Working in a factory in Guangzhou, China.
Working at working in a factory in China. That's good. That is one of the jobs. Anyone else? You have another one?
Sweatshop.
Yeah, sweatshop. Anyone else? Hey, look, I have all this experience with labs and with writing tests and writing papers or whatever. That's not that valuable when they're like, okay, nobody's ever done this before, build a circuit that does this, right? So what they do is they say, okay, rookie, sometimes they use more crude language than that as well. They say, okay, rookie, we're going to give you this project, and we know you're not going to be able to do it. That's fine. Don't feel like you need to spend time in here getting this project done and bang your head against the wall. We want you to go out and give it a shot, and when you have trouble, go talk to that guy. And that guy is an engineer who's been working for 30 years in your subject area. And so what you do is you go out and you try stuff, and it's wrong, which is fine, and then you get stuck. You're like, man, I've tried this, and I've tried this, and I've tried this, and I've tried this, and I don't know what I'm going to do. You go out, you go up, and you're like, fine, I'll go bother John. And you go over to John's desk, and you say, Gibbons, help me out. This is the situation. I've tried this, I've tried this, I've tried this, I've tried this. Help me out. Guess what happened? And inevitably, the recent college grad who went through the college curriculum like I was just talking about, where you just have to do what you're told and you get an A, of course, the person who just got that new job interprets the problem as, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing right now. That's what they think the problem is, because they've been told what they need to do every step along the way, as the education system does. So they go to John and they say, John, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And his response is, me neither, go figure it out. Right? One of the things he used to say, like if I was asking him too many questions, he'd be like, go dig. That's all he would say. Because he's got his work to do too, right? Like he's supposed to be doing all this design work. He doesn't have time to sit there with me all day and do my work for me. And that's how we modeled this program, was like, I bet if we make them do their own stuff, it'll not only be more rewarding, but they'll learn way more. And that's turned out to be true. That was like the big experiment. When we started BlueStamp, the first year we started, like, I don't know if this is going to work. And it turns out it worked better than we expected. So the method of teaching that we do here is great. It's a lot of work though, right? Who's getting worked hard? Yeah, that's good. Why not? You didn't raise your hand. You're not quick enough.
No, I raised my hand.
Yeah, I guess the point of this is you should be considering yourselves the new hires, the people who are supposed to be doing the actual work, and the staff members are the senior design engineers that are like, yeah, I've done a few things like this before. I still haven't done what you're doing, but I've done similar stuff, so I know kind of how to help you out. And so then they come, you'll notice that even when they come you ask them questions, they'll be like, I don't know, but this is what I would do to try and figure it out. That's all just like when you get your first job as an engineer. And I know it can be scary, but you want to develop comfort with not knowing the possible outcomes. Yeah?
So, on the topic of modifications to a project, let's say we were to add parts so that we can modify it.
Yeah.
And we don't get to it before the program ends. So we have to take them home.
No.
No?
No. Otherwise, what's the motivation for you to work hard? Yeah. And what we'll do, what the staff should be doing, is if you're ready for a modification, if you're getting ready for a modification, you should be planning it out and saying, I want these parts. And then you tell that to the staff member, they'll order it. They shouldn't give it to you until all these things are checked off and your website is perfect. So we'll have the parts sitting right here, and you'll be like, can't I please have those parts and start working on it? We'll be like, nope, finish your stuff. That's the way it should go. The whole idea here is if you're not ready to do the modification, then it's not going to happen. Now that being said, if we bought you a part that's like $5 or whatever, and we're not going to return or anything, sure, we'll get it to you, whatever. Nobody cares. But if it's a part that you probably won't be able to implement without our help, then we probably won't get it. I don't know. Case by case, we'll see. But in general, it's not like we're not trying to buy parts for a bunch of people that may or may not sit on the shelf for the rest of the time. Got it? Any other questions? Yeah.
What type of products do you help start off?
Yeah, that's a good question. So right now I've got a client currently that I rarely have clients that let me talk about their projects, but I got this one that's an open source project and let me talk about it publicly. They are, did we talk about this the other day, the hoverboard thing? No, I talked about it with somebody.
With us.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, they're working with the hoverboard. Like, you know those hoverboards, they just did another recall on them. I don't know if you guys know, but they're still exploding everywhere. Catching fire, which is bad news. So those hoverboards are like $400 or $500, right? Guess how much it costs for an electric wheelchair? Any guesses? 10 grand. 10 grand for an electric wheelchair. Can you believe that? And the reason is that they're selling the entire chair and it's a customized thing and they have to go through all these safety things so the batteries don't explode. But this company was like, this is ridiculous. I bet we can make something where somebody with a manual wheelchair can pop the back of their chair onto this sled thing that's got motors and batteries in it, and they plug in their joystick that's on their manual wheelchair, and they drive it around, right? So they can drive around like an electric wheelchair, and the best part is when they're ready to go home, they can pop it off, and they can load this thing in their trunk. Because if you have a disability and you need to get around with an electric wheelchair, not only do you need to spend the 10 grand on the electric wheelchair, but if you want to be able to get into a car with it, it's another like 40 grand to buy the minivan that's modified so that you can roll your thing into the ramp, right? It's an immense 50 grand just so you can live like a normal person. They're like, I bet you we can build a device for $1,000 to get people mobile. And there's a bunch of other cool stuff that they're doing with it, like tracking how effective they are with the joystick and things like that. Anyways, that's one of my clients. I'm doing all the electronics for them. I got another client that likes to monitor stuff, and so I designed all the electronics so that you can basically run this thing for the next 30 or 40 years without any human intervention. It'll take data, it's got solar panels, it's got custom batteries, it's got a bunch of cool stuff, where it'll take its data for 30 or 40 years and you can log into it over the cell network or over Wi-Fi or whatever, and maybe someday satellite, and get all your information out and never have to touch it ever again, like for 30, 40 years. It probably, you know, I say 30 or 40 years because I'm an engineer and I know that eventually it'll die, but it's probably closer to like 50 years it'll go without having to touch it. So that's kind of the stuff that I do. Those are in production. You can buy those right now, like $3,500. Yeah. Any other questions? Yes.
Are you a company or just you?
Company. Always a company. You want to be a company because if somebody, let's say I mess up a design and somebody gets hurt, it makes it so that I didn't do it. Like, I didn't do the design. My company made the design and sold it. So if they want to sue somebody, they're not suing me, they're suing the company. So they can't get at like my money or my retirement account or any of that stuff. I mean, they can, but it's really hard. It's like really hard to legally chase me down with that stuff. So you always want, if you're ever going to incorporate, that's the real point of it, is if something goes wrong. But, yeah. Any other questions? We only have a few more minutes. I think we might have no more minutes. Yeah.
What made you start BlueStamp?
I hire a lot of people every year, oftentimes for my clients.
Never good enough.
And I am amazed at how few people have actual building experience coming out of college. Like, you can get an engineering degree with honors from an excellent institution and still not know how to solder. I mean, that blows my mind. I went out of my way in college, and that's another thing that I always like to tell students. When you go to college, the degree is half of the value that you get. Half. You're paying all that money, and the degree is only half of what's available to you. There's those clubs that I were talking about, the labs that you have available to you, like if you wanted to just like go build a project in their labs, you have access to like millions and millions of dollars of equipment. What you do with that and the experience you gain with all the extra things that they have, that's the other half. So if you finish your freshman year and you're like, I got good grades and I learned a lot by going to class and going to my standard labs, I'm getting value out of college? No. You're halfway there. Hopefully you got a 50% scholarship. If you finish your freshman year and you're like, I got good grades, maybe not perfect grades, but I got good grades, I went to my labs, I learned a lot, and I did all this other cool stuff that looks just like what I want to do for a living, for free, not free, included in the price, that's what you want to be thinking. You want to be thinking like, wow, not only did I get good grades and I learned a lot, I finished the year and I have these 3 things that I could talk about in a job interview. Or I learned how to do these extra things that I could see myself doing for the next 30 or 40 years. For sure. Yeah. Any other questions? Yeah.
Are there any colleges that are project-based learning as opposed to just testing?
Yeah. We hire a lot of our people from, I always like the Cornell up in Ithaca. Beautiful place, by the way. Cornell is very heavily focused on like building projects. Harvey Mudd in California, very focused on projects. That's 2 that really stand out in my mind based on who we hire. You'll notice that we have a lot of NYU Poly and Columbia people here. Those are also places we draw a lot from. Columbia and NYU Poly, you have to go out of your way to get the projects. So if you ask our staff what projects they've built, they'll be able to tell you about a bunch of them. But if you ask them if they had to build them, the answer is almost certainly no. You could also ask them how many projects their friends build, and probably not as much as they have. So that's just the reality. And once again, these guys know how to get the value from a college education where their peers may not.
Like MIT isn't?
MIT, it is, but it'd be the same thing as Columbia.
Okay.
Like you can get out of, well, maybe not. I'm not that familiar with MIT, but like I know you can get out of Columbia without having to pick up a soldering iron. Because I've seen it. With an electrical engineering degree. Anyone else? Yeah.
Why is it called BlueStamp?
Because we just made it up.
Okay.
I don't know. We put together. I'll have to look because we get that question all the time. But the idea was it's like we both like the color blue. My wife's eyes are blue. And stamp is kind of like a mark of distinction. So, blue stamp. We have like a spreadsheet of like all the list name ideas that we had. Went back and forth. To be honest, I didn't care at all. Robin kind of got into the name thing more than I did. Thinking about getting a blue colored stamp. It says legit. So we can like stamp things and perhaps people with it when they do a good job. But yeah, right on your forehead. It's a good day if you get a legit stamp. Okay, anything else you guys want to talk about? I don't want to take too much of your build time. No? I'm going to be around, so if you want to talk to me, I'm here today and tomorrow, and then I'm coming back like 2 weeks later, and then I'll be here the last week or whatever. So I'm around if you think of anything. Good? All right.